It's October 21st, 1978. The sun is setting over the southern coast of Australia. The air is clear, the sea calm, a perfect evening for a short flight. 20-year-old Frederick Valentich taxis his skyplane down the runway at Moorabbin Airport just outside Melbourne. He's logged about 150 hours of flying time. Not an expert, but confident enough for a simple route. His plan? A short flight south across the Bass Strait to King Island, a lonely patch of land between mainland Australia and Tasmania, surrounded by some of the roughest sea in the region. It's a routine flight, less than an hour long. He files his flight plan at 6:19 p.m., checks his fuel, and takes off. At 7:06 p.m., Valentich radios air traffic control in Melbourne. His voice is calm and measured, the sound of a young pilot doing everything by the book. But just 5 minutes later, the tone changes. At 7:09, he calls again. Melbourne, this is Delta Sierra Juliet. Is there any known traffic below 5,000? The controller looks at the radar. Nothing. No known traffic, comes the reply. There's a short silence. Then Frederick again. I can see a large aircraft below 5,000. It seems to be playing some sort of game. It's flying over me 2, 3 times at speeds I cannot identify. The controller asks him to identify it. A jet, maybe. A military aircraft. It's not an aircraft, Valentich says finally. It's long, metallic, it's got a green light, and it's coming from the east toward me right now. His voice isn't panicked, just strained, as if he's trying to make sense of what he's seeing. He reports that the object passes overhead, moving fast, and then vanishes. Moments later, it reappears. It's hovering, and it's not an aircraft, he says again, more certain this time. The controller tries to guide him to get a bearing to calm him down, but the transmission is breaking up. There's wind, interference, and what sounds like metallic scraping. Frederick keeps describing the craft, the green light, the strange shape, the way it seems to move without sound. It's just orbiting above me, he says, breathing hard. It's got a shiny surface. It's not an aircraft. The conversation lasts 6 minutes. It ends at 7:12 p.m. with his final words. My engine is rough idling now. I'm going to continue flying north. It's hovering and it's not an aircraft. Then a long metallic sound and silence. The transmission cuts. Delta Sierra Juliet is gone. The controller waits, hoping the plane reappears on radar. It never does. They try calling back. No answer. Within minutes, a full search and rescue operation begins. Aircraft sweep the coast through the night. At dawn, the Bass Strait is calm again. No wreckage, no oil slick, no debris, just an empty sea. Frederick Valentich was born in 1958. He loved flying, and even more, he loved the idea of space. He talked often about UFOs with his friends and his father. He read about them, listened to reports, and believed they were possible. But he wasn't reckless. He'd been turned down by the Royal Australian Air Force for medical reasons, yet he kept studying and training, determined to make a life in the air. When the news broke the next morning, headlines were quick to connect his disappearance to the thing he described in those final minutes. Pilot missing after UFO encounter, vanished into the sky. His father, Guido Valentich, told reporters that his son had always been fascinated by the idea of life beyond Earth, and that he believed aliens could exist among us. But Guido also said his son wasn't prone to fantasies. He was serious, careful, and respectful of flying rules. He believed Frederick saw something, and something real. Investigators worked around the clock. They mapped his last known coordinates, about 20 kilometers north of King Island, and expanded the search across the Bass Strait. For 4 days, planes and ships combed the waters, and they found nothing. Weeks later, small pieces of metal were discovered washed ashore near Cape Otway. Tests showed they might have come from a Cessna, but there wasn't enough to confirm. No body, no wreckage, no flight instruments, nothing else was ever found. And that's when the story began to twist. The skeptics came first. They pointed out that Frederick wasn't a highly experienced pilot, just 150 hours total. He'd failed his commercial pilot exams twice. He'd also been cited for flying into restricted airspace and once deliberately entered clouds, breaking visual flight rules. So maybe they argued he became disoriented. Flying over open water at dusk can play tricks on depth perception. The horizon fades, light refracts, and navigation becomes guesswork. A distant light, even a reflection, can look like it's moving when it's you who's drifting. If his compass failed or his attention fixated on something in the dark, he could have spiraled down without realizing it. That's the rational explanation, but even the investigators admitted the details don't fit neatly. Frederick had logged a clear flight plan. He wasn't panicking, he was reporting what he saw clearly until the moment his transmission stopped. And then there's that sound at the end of the tape, the metallic scraping, low and strange. No one could explain it. As weeks turned into months, the story spread beyond aviation circles. The UFO community seized on it. To them, Valentich wasn't lost, he was taken. The green light, the metallic sound, and the sudden disappearance, it all fit their narrative. In Melbourne, witnesses came forward saying they'd seen an erratic green light moving fast in the sky that same night. A farmer claimed he'd found a circular depression in his field days later. Others reported strange lights over the Bass Strait for weeks after. Investigators checked radar data, and nothing unusual. But once a story like that takes root, it doesn't let go. To this day, the Valentich case is one of Australia's most enduring UFO mysteries. Back at home, his father never gave up hope. Guido Valentich kept speaking publicly, insisting his son wasn't delusional. He said if he saw something, then something was there. He believed the plane had been taken, not crashed, and that one day Frederick would return. He even kept his son's room untouched for years, as though waiting for him to walk back in. But the years passed quietly. No wreckage, no message, no answers. In 2013, 35 years later, a new clue surfaced. An amateur researcher found a decades-old report from an engine company that had tested fragments of metal debris found in 1983 near Flinders Island. The metal matched the composition of a Cessna 182 engine cowling, the same type Frederick had flown. But by then it was too late for certainty. The debris had long been discarded and the official case had been closed for decades. Even today, the Valentich disappearance lives in that strange space between two explanations. One ordinary, a tragic accident caused by disorientation over dark water, and the other extraordinary, an encounter that ended in silence. Neither side can prove the other wrong. If it was just a crash, it was a crash with perfect timing. Just when he said the thing was overhead, just when the sound changed, and just when the line went dead. There's also one more detail people forget. When Frederick took off, he told his girlfriend he'd be back the next day. He also mentioned he was planning to pick up a few friends from King Island, though no one was expecting him there. It's as if he had a reason for the flight that no one else fully understood. Maybe it was a simple mistake, or maybe he believed he was meeting something or someone out there. The story of Frederick Valentich endures because it sits perfectly on the fault line between reason and wonder. Every fact has a logical version and a haunting version. The compass failure or a craft overhead, the fading engine or something pulling the plane upward, the missing wreckage or a disappearance by design. That tension keeps the case alive because it reflects something we all feel, the pull between the world we can explain and the one that refuses to be ordinary. Today, if you stand at Cape Otway and look out over the Bass Strait, it's hard not to think about that last flight. The horizon is endless. The wind carries faint static through the headphones of every pilot who crosses it. And in that thin space between sea and sky, one small plane is still missing, and so is its answer. If mysteries like this pull at you, stories that walk the edge between the real and the unknown, please drop a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And as always, thanks for watching. Take care.